So in terms of chapters, we are left with, I think, this chapter and one more chapter.
2 more chapters, 12 and 13.
Okay. And 14 is just problem solving, so that is not important. But इसमें ना, I was trying to go through the derivative videos, but that link was not working, which earlier sir had provided.
Yes, I saw your message. I think आज Sunday है तो इसीलिए institute से कोई देख नहीं. But tomorrow they'll fix the issue.
ठीक है. Otherwise, I reach out to actuators admin, ना?
हाँ. Admin will only do it.
ठीक है.
चलो. Let's continue. अभी तक whatever we have done is clear, right?
I think just had those doubts in that derivative part.
So
that I think we'll
get the concept, then I think a lot of it will be clearer.
Otherwise, all good. I think that will just require more revision. Otherwise, I'm good.
Great. Okay. So last class we ended with liability driven investment, जहाँ पे we saw कि main focus is कि liabilities जैसे move कर रहे हैं वैसे ही we want our investments to move. And primarily we were focusing on bonds, swaps and other derivatives, right? So now we have some technical side of it. We have two measures. एक है PV01 और एक है IE01. PV01 and IE01 क्या होते हैं? PV01, PV stands for present value and 01 stands for 1 basis point. What is 1 basis point? It's 0.01%. Correct? So basically PV01 is a measure जो कि देखता है कि what is going to be the change in present value due to a 0.01% change in the interest rate. And similarly, we have IE01 जो कि देखता है कि what is going to be the change in the present value when there is a 1 basis point change in the inflation. Okay. So to calculate, one way is कि हम लोग सीधा देख सकते हैं, suppose if interest rate is 6%, तो we change it to 6.01% and recalculate the present value. Right? That is one way, and जो difference आएगा that would be PV01, impact on the present value. And similarly inflation के लिए भी. But we have another version of the formula कि how can we approximate the value of PV01 so that we don't have to redo the entire calculation all over again. सिर्फ impact को approximate करने के लिए we have this value. What is this formula? It makes use of modified duration. Now, I think last class we discussed Macaulay duration, right?
Right.
हाँ. Okay, but before that, एक बार DV0 and PV01 का difference कर लेते हैं, वरना skip हो जाएगा. तो PV01 होता है and उसी के जैसा एक DV01 होता है. Difference क्या होता है? DV01 focuses on दो things होता है कोई भी bond में. One is the coupon rate and the other one is the yield to maturity or the YTM. What is yield to maturity? It is basically taking into account the overall yield or the overall return on the particular bond or the product जो भी है. Which means कि coupon rate जो है, coupon rate is only going to focus on the coupon payments. कि उस rate पे coupons मिलेगा. But end में जो हम लोग को principal भी मिलता है, उसको भी if we incorporate into our return कि क्या difference मिल रहा है on the principal, then all these cash flows जिस rate पे discount करने से we get the present value or the value today, that is called the yield to maturity. I hope that you know the difference between coupon rate and YTM.
Yes.
ठीक है? तो DV01 इज जब YTM या ग्रॉस रिडेम्पशन यील्ड कुछ भी बोलो उसमें 1 basis point का चेंज आता है. एंड PV01 is when the coupon payment changes by 0.01. But that is only the technicality. अभी यहाँ पे हम लोग जब PV01 का बात करेंगे, we will basically be focusing on only one interest rate, and that's the YTM. Okay. तो PV01 एंड IE01 दोनों में यूज होता है मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन. मकॉले ड्यूरेशन क्या होता है? मकॉले ड्यूरेशन इज अ वेटेड एवरेज ऑफ टाइम. टाइम का मकॉले ड्यूरेशन कम्स इन ईयर्स, कि कितना ईयर्स में हम लोग का इन्वेस्टमेंट हम लोग को वापस मिलेगा. हाउ? वी टेक डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लोज या प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ कैश फ्लोज एज द वेट, एंड हम लोग टाइम का एक वेटेड एवरेज निकालते हैं यूजिंग द डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लोज. ये फॉर्मूला है where we are summing up CT into V to the power T. CT into V to the power T is your discounted cash flow, and that is the weight used. And किसका average निकाल रहे? We are taking out an average of time. Now, modified duration is another version of Macaulay duration, जो कि ज्यादा ये जो है ये years में आते हैं, but modified duration जो है वो percent में आते हैं. How is it different? ईयर्स वाला बताता है कि कितना टाइम में हम लोग को इन्वेस्टमेंट वापस मिल जाएगा. क्या होता है? लॉन्गर डेटेड बॉन्ड्स हैव अ लॉन्गर और अ हायर ड्यूरेशन, शॉर्टर डेटेड बॉन्ड्स हैव अ शॉर्टर ड्यूरेशन. जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड का ड्यूरेशन कितना होता है? व्हाट इज द ड्यूरेशन ऑफ अ जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड?
1 year.
5 ईयर का जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड है अगर तो
ठीक है.
तो कितना? 5 ईयर जीरो कूपन बॉन्ड है, उसका ड्यूरेशन कितना होगा?
5 year.
5 year. Zero coupon bond का duration is always equal to its maturity time, because there is no other cash flow in the middle जिसके कारण weighted average pull down हो. But अगर कोई भी टाइप का बॉन्ड में interim cash flows है तो उनका weighted average pull down हो जाता है. Now ये बताते हैं duration, Macaulay duration. Modified duration is the same duration divided by 1 plus YTM by frequency. By YTM by frequency, usually सिर्फ yield to maturity use करना होगा. By frequency would be because किस रेट पे कंपाउंड हो रहा है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल 6% पर annum का yield to maturity आ रहा है, and the payments are happening every 6 months. So in that case, एक साल में 2 का frequency है, तो we'll use a rate of 3% instead of 6%. So this what does this modified duration tell us? This modified duration is basically telling us कि interest rate की तरफ sensitivity क्या है. Interest rate की तरफ sensitivity क्या है? अगर interest rate change होता है तो कितना परसेंट से हम लोग का प्रेजेंट वैल्यू या हम लोग का बॉन्ड का वैल्यू चेंज होगा. दैट इज व्हाट द मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन सेज. ओके, सो ओवर हियर इफ यू सी, इट मेक्स सेंस आफ्टर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन कि मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन से अगर हम लोग ओरिजिनल नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू मल्टीप्लाई करें, दिस वुड बी द इम्पैक्ट, राइट? दिस वुड बी द इम्पैक्ट. नाउ व्हाई minus 10,000? Why minus 10,000?
Not sure.
हम लोग कितना बेसिस पॉइंट का चेंज देख रहे हैं?
100.
नहीं, 1 basis point. 1 basis point is 0.01%, which is this.
Correct. ठीक है.
Okay, इसीलिए 10,000. And now next is why this minus sign? Why this minus sign? Modified duration होगा, NPV होगा. Now tell me, if the interest rate is going up, impact क्या होना चाहिए? पॉजिटिव होना चाहिए कि नेगेटिव होना चाहिए प्रेजेंट वैल्यू पे?
नेगेटिव.
नेगेटिव होना चाहिए.
करेक्ट.
तो इसीलिए ये माइनस साइन.
करेक्ट. ठीक है.
सो दैट इम्पैक्ट इज नेगेटिव. क्लियर? सिमिलरली एकदम सेम डिट्टो लॉजिक के साथ वी हैव इन्फ्लेशन मॉडिफाइड ड्यूरेशन, जहां पे क्या होता है? ये ड्यूरेशन निकलता है and it is weighted on the inflation rate. Instead of yield to maturity, we have E, which is the inflation rate. और कुछ भी change नहीं होता है. That is inflation modified duration, and we multiply that with the net present value and divide by minus 10,000. Same ditto thing. Okay.
So basically, this is just a matrix to understand that what is going to be my impact if my interest rate will change.
हाँ, interest rate or inflation rate.
Or inflation.
Okay. So ये हो गया. And volatility of a bond is defined.
And DV01 was in terms of ITD.
Yes, DV01 was in terms of YTD. यहाँ पे हम लोग PV01 को भी उसी टर्म में देख रहे हैं, बट टेक्निकली एग्जैक्ट डेफिनेशन इज DV01 जब ग्रॉस रिडेम्पशन यील्ड या YTM YTD कुछ भी बोलो चेंज होता है 1 बेसिस पॉइंट से, एंड PV01 होता है जब कूपन रेट चेंज होते हैं.
ठीक है.
ओके. वोलैटिलिटी ऑफ अ बॉन्ड का क्या फॉर्मूला होता है? वोलैटिलिटी ऑफ अ बॉन्ड इज डिफाइंड एज -1 by P. P is the present value into delta P by delta I. Delta P by delta I क्या है? Change in present value due to change in interest rate. ठीक है, that is the volatility of a bond. Now यहाँ पे एक example है which you can look at later because I've already explained the formula and everything. Literally सिर्फ उसको numericals के साथ कराया हुआ है. So take a look at it. And one thing, जो IE01 है, जो भी एसेट में कोई इन्फ्लेशन का एलिमेंट नहीं है, उनका कोई IE01 होगा ही नहीं. Why so? Because they have no linkage to inflation. They are not impacted by inflation. So only asset classes like index linked bonds would be affected by inflation.
ठीक है.
ठीक है, make sense? तो इसीलिए जैसे यहाँ पे they have spoken about 2 kinds of bonds in the example. जो खाली इंडेक्स लिंक बॉन्ड है सिर्फ उसका IE01 निकलेगा. ऑलराइट. Let's look at this LDI case study. Suppose that a UK defined benefit pension scheme has the following assets and liabilities. Assets में equities है, property and infrastructure है, alternative credit है, index linked gilts है, summing up to a total of 1700 million. Liabilities है 2000 million का, with an average duration of 27 years and 80% of them are inflation linked. Okay. So first is, अच्छा ये जो it is just a case study. So हर question का answer fully पता होना is not necessary. Assuming that the index linked gilts have an average duration of 18 years, जो यहाँ पे 800 million के index linked gilts है, and other assets do not contribute to interest rate and inflation protection. So for example, ideally property and infrastructure also are a good hedge for inflation. But for the sake of simplicity, we are assuming कि सिर्फ index linked gilts are the only asset that is providing inflation protection. What is the current hedge ratio for interest rates and inflation? Hedge ratio क्या होता है कि how protected are we to whatever risk is there. बहुत ही सिंपल है. 800 million का इंडेक्स लिंक पोर्टफोलियो है जिसका ड्यूरेशन है 18 years. तो जो ड्यूरेशन होता है दैट इज एक्चुअली द सेंसिटिविटी. So we cannot consider 100% of the portfolio as being hedged. 800 का ड्यूरेशन इज 18 एंड जो 2000 का लाइबिलिटीज है उसका ड्यूरेशन इज 27. ओके. तो हेज रेशियो बोल सकते हैं कि 800 into 18 by 2000 into 27 है अप्रोक्सीमेटली. Does that make sense?
ठीक है.
ठीक है. Now यहाँ पे they are calculating PV01 and IE01. Now एक approximation है where IE01 is equal to the negative of PV01. Why is that so? Because it is assumed कि जब भी inflation impact होते हैं तो उसके साथ साथ इन्फ्लेशन हैज अ डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट ऑन इंटरेस्ट रेट्स एज वेल. सो दैट इज व्हाई वी यूज दिस अप्रोक्सीमेशन वेयर change due to inflation and change due to interest rate is similar just in the opposite direction. क्योंकि inflation increase होने से क्या होगा? inflation increase होने से payments increase होंगे, because index linked bond क्या करते हैं? जितना inflation है उतना ज्यादा payment देते हैं.
Correct.
So when inflation increases, the value is supposed to increase, whereas when interest rates increase, the values are supposed to go down. So both of them are approximately in magnitude the same, but sign दोनों का opposite होता है. Okay? So we use this approximation. I01 is equal to minus PV01. Index linked gilts का PV01 निकाल दिया and liabilities का PV01 निकाल दिया. Now,
when we say hedge ratio is 27%, it means that 27% of our risk is hedged, basically.
yes.
Okay.
ठीक है. तो what I just said कि 800 into 18 by 2000 into 27 और उसका 80% of course, because only 80% is inflation linked. तो that is the same as what they are doing here, क्योंकि दोनों का PV01 में जो denominator में minus 10,000 है, that's anyway going to go off. Understood?
ठीक है.
हाँ, तो लॉजिक समझ आया हेज रेशियो के कैलकुलेशन का.
ठीक है.
ये अगेंस्ट इंटरेस्ट रेट्स. नाउ ये चीज ध्यान रखना कि अगेंस्ट इंटरेस्ट रेट्स में डिनोमिनेटर में दे हैव टेकन द एंटायर PV01 ऑफ द लायबिलिटीज व्हिच इज 5.4 million, बट इन्फ्लेशन हेजिंग में दे हैव ओनली कंसिडर्ड 4.3 million ऑफ लायबिलिटीज. व्हाई? बिकॉज बाकी तो इन्फ्लेशन का एक्सपोजर ही नहीं है 20% को. So this you have to
80% of inflation link.
Yes. So understood? This you have to keep in mind.
ठीक है.
Assuming the availability of fixed and inflation linked LDI pooled funds that have a leverage of 3 times and a modified duration of 22 years. Leverage of 3 times मतलब whatever amount you put उसका 3x तक you can take exposure, and modified duration of 22 years is जो अभी हम लोग ऊपर सारे ड्यूरेशंस कर रहे हैं, इसका ड्यूरेशन इज 22 years. What would the hedge ratio be when all index linked gilts are replaced by an investment into these pooled funds, which is 80% into inflation linked LDI and 20% into fixed LDI. तो दो टाइप के हैं, एक फिक्स्ड है और एक इन्फ्लेशन लिंक्ड है. वी नो ओनली 80% ऑफ आवर लायबिलिटीज आर इन्फ्लेशन लिंक्ड, तो सिर्फ 80% को हम लोग इन्फ्लेशन लिंक्ड वाले पूल्ड फंड में डालेंगे एंड 20% विल गो इनटू द फिक्स्ड पूल्ड फंड. टोटल PV01 would be 800. अच्छा, 800 was what we had invested in the index linked gilts. So 800 को we are taking off from the index linked gilts and putting into these pooled funds. उसका 80% will go into the inflation linked one and 20% will go into the fixed one. Correct?
Correct.
So now total PV01 या फिर directly भी hedge ratio हम लोग निकाल सकते हैं. क्या हो जाएगा? For interest rates it will be 800 into 66 because 3x हम लोग को exposure मिलेगा because of the leverage. है ना?
They have a leverage of 3 times and a modified duration of 22 years. ठीक है.
तो effective duration 66 years हो गया.
ठीक है.
हाँ, तो 800 into 66 is what we are getting from the hedge. And hedge करना कितना है interest rate के लिए? कहाँ गया? 2000 into 27 जो liabilities है ना?
ठीक है.
So that is giving us a number of 98%. ये रहे यहाँ पे they have shown also 5.28 is what they are getting from 800 into 66 and 5.4 is what we calculated ऊपर में liabilities का PV01. So that gives us a 98% hedge ratio. And inflation linked वाले के टाइम क्या करेंगे? 800 का 80% निकालेंगे and 5.4 का भी 80% निकालेंगे. दोनों 80% कट के we would get the same hedge ratio for inflation also.
ठीक है. ठीक है.
Understood the case study?
Hmm.
Now, next we have again some good amount of theory और फिर बाद में जाके थोड़ा सा ट्रैकिंग एरर एंड ऑल के ऊपर में है. Now we have active investment and passive investment. Active investment is when you are actively selecting stocks, selecting sectors which are within the mandate, but they are not exactly mirroring the benchmark. And passive investment is when you are simply tracking a benchmark or investing according to the benchmark. That is passive investment, right? What is a collective investment scheme? Collective investment scheme is like जो हम लोग mutual fund बोलते हैं. Mutual fund is also a sort of collective investment scheme जहाँ पे money is being collected, pooled and invested. उसको बोलते हैं CIS. Now, there are various considerations which we need to take when deciding कि we want to go for active investment or passive investment, or rather active management or passive management. सबसे पहले for passive management, it is very 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 important कि we have an ideal benchmark to track, and usually that benchmark is supposed to be a market index, and that market index should mirror the fund's views. It should mirror the fund's views, it should mirror the fund's themes, fund को sector wise क्या preference है, risk appetite क्या है, उसके हिसाब से they need to find a well defined market index. Secondly, बहुत बार market indices तो मिल जाते हैं, but to mirror them or to replicate them can become either very costly, or it can become very tough, or it can have some components which are not investable, which are closed for investment. So these are few reasons where passive management becomes tough. So you have to go for active management. List factors that would make it relatively straightforward to construct a tracking collective tracking CIS. Index should be clearly defined. Rebalancing frequency, weights, rebalancing rules, सब चीज होने चाहिए. The index should have supporting indices such as an income index, a yield index, and an accrued interest index. For example, for all the fixed income investments, which are all published frequently. Why so? क्योंकि just having, let's say suppose आज Sensex है, just having the Sensex is not enough. Sensex के अंदर जो equities हैं that are paying dividend, what kind of dividend they are paying, what is the dividend yield on that index, उसी हिसाब से, because जब आपका return calculate होगा उस time पे it is not just going to be the capital appreciation or how much the index has changed, it is going to be all kinds of returns included. There should be a reasonable array of derivatives based on the index. Why so? क्योंकि to get exposure on the index, it is not always possible कि आप उसको replicate करो. Sometimes आपको synthetic way से through the use of futures, options, swaps, etc. sometimes you have to get exposure in these ways. Plus, अगर array of derivatives है तो pricing उतना ज़्यादा और efficient हो पाते हैं. Index should be followed by a reasonable number of other funds to allow relative performance and risk statistics to be calculated and published. It should have a long track record. All the underlying components should be investable and relatively marketable. Okay, so this question can be something which comes in the exam as a subpart. So it's important to know because ये सारे चीज passive investment या passive management के लिए भी use हो सकते हैं. That day we were talking about market capitalization and especially market capitalization as a weight for the indices. Other than market cap, और क्या क्या use हो सकता है? We can have things like the sales, we can have things like profits, और क्या क्या है? Sales है, profits है, GDP of the country है for global indices. Indices have been produced that use weights that maximize diversification according to market correlation statistics collected over a period in the recent past. Also, inside market cap also there can be a capped market capitalization ताकि जो बहुत huge companies है उनको excessive weight नहीं मिल जाए in the index. So there can be a capped market capitalization. This can be argued to reduce the specific risk and increase diversification without actually lowering returns. How so? हम लोग अगर मार्केट कैप से वे कर रहे हैं एंड देयर आर सम एक्सट्रीमली लार्ज कंपनीज, तो हो सकता है दैट दोज कंपनीज टेक अप नियरली 50% ऑफ द पोर्टफोलियो, वर्सेस इफ वी कैप इट तो हम लोग को वो कंपनी से अच्छा रिटर्न तो मिलेगा, लेकिन वी विल बी एबल टू डाइवर्सिफाई मोर बिकॉज उनमें कम शेयर रहेगा, तो वी विल हैव मोर प्रपोर्शन टू डाइवर्सिफाई. ऑलराइट. Okay, what is free float market cap? What is the difference of normal market cap and free float market cap?
Not sure.
So, market cap is basically talking about the number of shares that are there on the company's balance sheet, जितने भी shares issue हुए. But it is not necessary कि all the shares are available in the open market for trading. Free float market cap considers only those shares जो या those number of shares जो कि मार्केट में फ्रीली ट्रेडेबल है, इसीलिए उसको फ्री फ्लोट बोलते हैं. शेयर्स विच आर फ्लोटिंग फ्रीली इन द मार्केट अवेलेबल टू ट्रेड. सम ऑफ देम, फॉर एग्जांपल, बहुत सारे शेयर्स जो कि प्राइवेटली प्लेस्ड हैं, those are not available on the market, so they will not be included in the free float market cap. ठीक है. In practice, if some holdings are considered closely held and not available to the general market, for example, stakes held by governments or company insiders, then a free float adjustment is generally made to exclude those holdings from the calculation of market cap. Understood? Free float market cap. And it makes sense कि आप free float market cap use करो because बाकी shares तो ऐसे भी हम लोग को access ही नहीं है, तो how will we even, why should we even consider them? This approach keeps trading to a minimum. Market cap weighting is the only weighting scheme that it would be possible for all investors to follow at the same time, क्योंकि market cap real time में update होते रहते हैं. It also gives the investor the widest and most neutral representation of the available opportunity. For example, instead if we were using profit, तो उसमें window dressing का रहता, plus the profits are published quarterly usually, तो इसीलिए सिर्फ quarterly वो update हो पाते हैं, and that also few people get early access to the numbers versus others, तो इसीलिए बहुत सारे discrepancies हो सकते हैं on sales and profits. So that's why market cap is the most widely used weightage method for indices. The total portfolio held by investors in aggregate, in definition, is a market cap weighted portfolio. It also therefore follows that the return earned on average by investors is equal to the market cap weighted return. The market price of any security is a balancing price. If more investors judge the price too low than who judge it too high, then they can be expected to buy and push up the price. ये कुछ नहीं है. This is basically talking about the demand and supply in the market. Okay. Market cap weighting draws then on the wisdom of crowds. Investors who do not feel that they have sufficient advantage over other investors to determine better weights to security can choose to save time and money by simply adopting the aggregate market view, which means simply following the crowd or the overall market. Now, active versus passive management. Arguments for passive management क्या है? Obviously, there is diversity. There's independence, a particular kind of decentralization, by which he means a way of aggregating views. This is talking about the wisdom of crowds, जो अभी हम लोग ऊपर भी पढ़े, which is a book. क्वेश्चन था जहाँ पे एक्टिव वर्सेस पैसिव पूरा डिस्कस्ड है. Anyway, a very, very, very common question on active versus passive management. In some way or the other, usually ये आ जाते हैं. So इसीलिए it would be good to give this entire portion a good read and take out all the points. क्या टाइप के points हो सकते हैं according to you? What could be the arguments for and against active management and for and against passive management?
That for will be that you can have the potential to explore different type of markets, different type of asset classes, take advantage, have upside potential, and the risk or the bad side would be that there'll be a lot of cost of tactical asset switching, which we studied in CP1 also.
Okay.
And there might be a lot of handling cost, expertise cost, because more expertise will be required. In terms of passive, it could be that it can give you more stable returns, so there can be lesser fluctuations. But in terms of disadvantages will be that there can also be a disadvantage in terms of that you are not taking in complete potential of the assets that you are holding or the capital that you are holding. So it could be that your returns might be slightly lower, but it will be more stable.
Okay. Passive management के against और कोई arguments?
Against नहीं और तो नहीं, not sure. I think on returns it could be lesser. All the advantages that I quoted in the active one, so lesser potential of exploring different type of markets. Diversification will be lesser.
Okay. Something जो अभी हम लोग just discuss किए when we were discussing indices.
On benchmarking. But how can it be negative? Benchmarking, so passive will be that it is directly benchmarking in your returns with a benchmark. So how it can maybe a negative point?
नेगेटिव पॉइंट होगा बिकॉज पैसिव में हम लोग जो भी बेंचमार्क ले रहे हैं उसके हिसाब से वी विल हैव टू कीप स्विचिंग, वी विल हैव टू वी माइट हैव टू. ये सबसे बड़ा डिसएडवांटेज होता है कि पैसिव मैनेजमेंट में क्या होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल निफ्टी 50 है, निफ्टी 50 में टॉप 50 कंपनीज रहते हैं, राइट. नाउ टुडे इफ अ कंपनी is being moved out of the Nifty 50 index because it's being surpassed by another company. What does it mean? It is because that company's value has fallen.
Correct.
Now, as soon as that company is moved out of the Nifty 50 and you are into passive management, so you also have to offload that company from their portfolio. And that will have to be done at the bad rates. Understood? तो क्या होगा? You might be forced to buy at high rates and sell at low rates only for the sake of tracking that index, which is not a good thing to do with your money. उसकी जगह अगर active management हो रहा होता, then you would have known कि even before the exit from the index, I can offload it, or you could have kept it in your portfolio and waited for some time कि ये सारा selling pressure खत्म हो जाए, थोड़ा सा recover कर जाए stock, उसके बाद I will sell it. Understood?
So for offloading that, we will have to sell in those particular shares that we are holding for that company.
हाँ, क्योंकि हम लोग को तो mirror करना है ना Nifty 50 को.
ठीक है. ठीक है.
ठीक है. So understood how it's a disadvantage? Okay. Then we have something. This is also again an investment style to nahi, but a methodology that is used for pricing investments, which is called factor exposures. Now, what is beta? Beta क्या होता है?
Change.
Change, not exactly. What does beta signify? If I say a company has a beta of, let's say, 0.7, what does it mean?
that the risk exposure is 70%.
Risk exposure is 70% of what?
Bonds.
नहीं, बॉन्ड्स का बीटा नहीं बात कर रहे, इक्विटी का बीटा का बात कर रहे हैं.
So it will be risk exposure that we have towards equities.
Beta is basically something that shows the sensitivity of the security to the overall market. क्योंकि क्या है, CAPM क्या बोलते हैं, जो डाइवर्सिफाइबल रिस्क है वो हम लोग डाइवर्सिफाई कर लेते हैं, जो स्पेसिफिक रिस्क है, बट वी स्टिल हैव बीटा एज अ रिस्क मेजर बिकॉज दैट सिग्निफाइज सिस्टमैटिक रिस्क, ऑल द रिस्क जो कि सिस्टम में एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. इट इज नॉट समथिंग विच इज स्पेसिफिक टू दैट सिक्योरिटी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोई बिजनेस में कंपेटिटर्स का राइज, या फिर कोई बिजनेस में कोई फैक्ट्री बंद हो जाना, इट इज नॉट स्पेसिफिक टू दैट बिजनेस.
So alpha is specific to the asset class that we are seeing.
Yes.
Beta will be specific to the not
something
to the asset.
related to the entire system or the entire market. Beta signifies only the systematic risk. तो what does it say? It says कि जब market change होगा तो हर security affect होगा. Beta tells us कि market change होने से वो particular security कितना impact होगा. Not because of the risks जो उसके खुद के business में, but because of the risks like inflation हो गया, या कोई political regime change हो गया, या कोई war हो गया, या फिर अचानक से economy का GDP पे impact आ गया. All these things which affect the entire market will also affect that security, and that is something you cannot do away with completely. So beta shows the sensitivity to the market. So if we say a company has a beta of 0.7, it means कि market अगर 1 point से change हो रहा है, या market अगर 100 points से increase हो रहा है, so that share is going to increase by 70%, या impacted by, उस पे impact 70% होगा compared to the market. अगर minus 0.7 है, it means कि it is anti-cyclical. मतलब अगर मार्केट बढ़ रहा है तो वो शेयर 70% से डिक्रीज होगा, और अगर मार्केट गिर रहा है तो वो 70% से इंक्रीज होगा. अंडरस्टूड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बीटा?
Yes.
ठीक है. सो बीटा क्या है? बीटा इज अ फैक्टर, करेक्ट. एंड उस फैक्टर को हम लोग किससे लिंक करते हैं? CAPM का फॉर्मूला क्या है? रिस्क फ्री रेट है प्लस बीटा इंटू मार्केट रिस्क प्रीमियम. Basically whatever return the market is giving over and above the risk free rate, उससे हम लोग बीटा को मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं. तो वो जो मार्केट रिस्क प्रीमियम है उसमें रिटर्न गिवन बाय द मार्केट विल फ्लक्चुएट. उसका 70% चेंज विल बी इम्पैक्टेड और विल बी शोन इन दैट पर्टिकुलर सिक्योरिटीज रिटर्न. दैट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ CAPM. तो बीटा एक फैक्टर है जो कि लिंक्ड है टू द मार्केट रिस्क प्रीमियम. Correct. Similarly, there can be other factors. There can be other factors like beta जो उस security का sensitivity दिखाते हैं to other things. For example, whether a security is a large security या large cap में है या small cap में. हो सकता है large cap में impact अलग हो, small cap में impact अलग हो. Whether that security is a growth one or a value one. Growth one और value one में क्या difference है? Value one, एक question भी है इसमें. Value one जो है वो usually आपको regular earnings ज़्यादा देता है. And growth ones are those shares जो कि आपको usually capital में ज़्यादा impact दिखाते हैं. Capital growth ज़्यादा होता है उनका. तो इसीलिए जो एट्रीब्यूट्स वैल्यू शेयर्स के होते हैं वो क्या होते हैं? हाई कैश फ्लो यील्ड, हाई बुक वैल्यू टू प्राइस रेशियो, लो पी रेशियो एंड हाई डिविडेंड यील्ड, व्हिच आर ऑल फोकसिंग ऑन द करंट अर्निंग्स. ऑन ये सब समवेयर और द अदर फंडामेंटल्स ऑफ द कंपनी है. ग्रोथ शेयर्स के क्या एट्रीब्यूट्स होते हैं? दे हैव अ हाई हिस्टोरिकल अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ, they have a high forecast earnings growth, they have a high sales growth, and they are in a growing industry or market. Okay, तो value shares हम लोग उनको बोलते हैं जो थोड़े usually safer होते हैं, या those shares जो कि इस्टेब्लिश्ड होते हैं, बट ग्रोथ शेयर्स आर दोज जिनके फ्यूचर में प्रोस्पेक्ट्स आते हैं. सो द इम्पैक्ट ऑन will also depend somewhat on whether it is a value share or a growth share, right? सेम अर्निंग पर शेयर है, सेम सब कुछ है, लेकिन फिर भी उनका प्राइसिंग डिफर हो सकते हैं सिंपली बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट कि वन इज अ वैल्यू शेयर एंड वन इज अ ग्रोथ शेयर. ठीक है.
ठीक है.
हाँ, सिमिलरली लार्ज कैप है कि स्मॉल कैप है, ये रहे यहाँ पे वैल्यू एंड स्मॉल कैप इन स्मार्ट बीटा कॉन्सेप्ट्स. वैल्यू इन्वेस्टिंग
What is smart beta investing?
स्मार्ट बीटा इज बेसिकली फैक्टर एक्सपोजर मेथड को स्मार्ट बीटा बोलते हैं, जहाँ पे बीटा के साथ साथ वी आर कंसिडरिंग अदर फैक्टर्स आल्सो.
ठीक है. मतलब almost similar thing only what we was just discussing, alpha beta.
हाँ, बीटा इज वन फैक्टर, उसके जैसे और फैक्टर्स को अपने मॉडल में इंक्लूड करना. क्योंकि सीएपीएम क्या कहता है, सीएपीएम थिंक्स कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ जो रिटर्न है उस पर्टिकुलर सिक्योरिटी का, दैट इज ओनली डिपेंडेंट ऑन हाउ it is being impacted compared to the market. Apart from that, और भी चीज है जो इस रिटर्न को इम्पैक्ट करेगा. एंड वी आर स्टिल नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट स्पेसिफिक रिस्क. स्पेसिफिक रिस्क का यहाँ पे कुछ बात ही नहीं हो रहा है, वो तो अलग ही है. ठीक है.
ठीक है.
So value investing and small cap investing have been features of the investment landscape for many years. They are also, in somewhat repackaged form, significant elements of some more recent smart beta developments, where people are focusing more on value and small cap. तो ये हो गया वैल्यू पे एंड मतलब कैपिटलाइजेशन एंड ग्रोथ वर्सेस वैल्यू स्टॉक्स पे. Consider a portfolio that adopts an equal weighted strategy, which means the weights in the portfolio are not chosen by market cap, but instead all stocks receive the same equal weight. By construction, this portfolio will be tilted towards small cap stocks relative to a market cap weighted portfolio, क्योंकि मार्केट में बड़े वाले स्टॉक्स कम होंगे एंड स्मॉलर स्टॉक्स ज्यादा होंगे. एंड बिकॉज अ स्टॉक which rises in value will be sold by such a strategy in order to maintain equal weighting. An equal weighted strategy will also tend to be tilted towards the value factor. इसका मतलब क्या है? वैल्यू फैक्टर क्या देखता है? वैल्यू फैक्टर देखता है करंट, सारा करंट एट्रीब्यूट्स. तो जो भी स्टॉक का वैल्यू राइज हो रहा है उसको सेल कर देंगे, बिकॉज क्या है, सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट इज बाय लो सेल हाई. तो ऐसा स्ट्रैटेजी हर वो स्टॉक को बेचेगा जिसका वैल्यू राइज हो रहा है, सो दैट दे मेंटेन इक्वल वेटिंग. व्हाट डू दे मीन बाय इक्वल वेटिंग? इक्वल वेटिंग मतलब मेरे पास जितना रुपया है, ऑल ऑफ इट शुड बी डिवाइडेड इक्वली अमंग वट एवर स्टॉक्स आर अवेलेबल इन द यूनिवर्स. तो अगर आज 10 स्टॉक्स है जिसमें यू इन्वेस्टेड योर मनी, लेट्स से इन वन ऑफ दीज स्टॉक्स उसका वैल्यू ऊपर चला गया, जिसके कारण नाउ यू हैव मोर मनी. लेट्स से 100 रुपीज था, जिसको यू डिवाइडेड इनटू 10 पार्ट्स, 10 रुपीज ईच. जो भी स्टॉक का जो भी वैल्यू स्टॉक था वो आपको इनकम दिया, क्योंकि करंट पे है, जल्दी उसका रिटर्न मिल रहा है. वो लेट्स से 11 हो गया. तो अब क्या हुआ? इक्वल वेटिंग हट गया, एक में 11 है, बाकी में 10 है. तो व्हाट विल यू डू? You will be selling off this stock. हाँ, you will be selling off this stock. तो क्या होगा विथ टाइम? आपका जब तक आप इसको सेल नहीं कर रहे हो, तब तक आपका ज्यादा किस पे है फोकस? मोर ऑफ योर मनी इज इन्वेस्टेड इनटू द वैल्यू स्टॉक्स.
करेक्ट.
और रादर अनदर वे टू सी इट इज, जो वैल्यू स्टॉक्स होंगे वो तो आपको इनकम देंगे. कैपिटल कहाँ पे इंक्रीज होगा? ग्रोथ स्टॉक्स में, जिनका मनी वैल्यू इंक्रीज हो रहे,
हम्म
उनसे आप जब निकालोगे तो आप वैल्यू स्टॉक में डालोगे,
हम्म
तो अगेन tilted towards the value factor.
हम्म
So that's why जब equal weighting portfolio होते हैं, they tend to have characteristics of small cap value tilted portfolio. Understood?
Because we'll be selling off the growth ones, moving towards the value ones. ठीक है.
अदर फैक्टर्स जो हम लोग कंसिडर करते हैं, दो हम लोग डिस्कस किए, साइज एंड वैल्यू वर्सेस ग्रोथ. अदर लिक्विडिटी फैक्टर्स बेस्ड ऑन ESG रिक्वायरमेंट्स या ESG मेजर्स, ये सब डिफरेंट फैक्टर एक्सपोजर्स है जो कि यूज हो सकते हैं इन योर स्मार्ट बीटा कॉन्सेप्ट. Then we have risk management and asset allocation. Risk management of the asset allocation decision, which is basically measuring and managing risk. उसमें क्या होता है, सबसे पहले we've already done risk budgeting in the previous class, जहाँ पे हम लोग overall entity के लिए पहले risk determine करते हैं and then we distribute that risk to our different verticals. The key element in the risk management of asset allocation is being able to tell if things are going wrong and be able to take corrective action. This is difficult as the feedback loop from the asset allocation process can be quite long. It can be difficult to determine exactly when things are going wrong. Furthermore, although many aspects of investment performance are routinely and frequently measured, it is surprisingly rare to ask the question, how successful was the asset allocation policy discussion? Relative performance of an active manager को assess करने में trustees are comfortable but not so familiar with looking at the selected strategic benchmark. क्या बोल रहे हैं? Basically, trustees focus more on studying or analyzing the active risk versus the strategic risk. Because strategic risk अगर दिखा कि it did not pay them well, then it means that it was the trustees' fault. But active risk अगर downside की तरफ गया, then they can always blame the fund managers, right?
Right.
Looking at the risk that has also been created by choice of strategic benchmarks in the context of all other possible strategic benchmarks is even less common. However, conclusions such as the fund would have performed better if the allocation had more equities and less bonds is not uncommon and is essentially a comment on the strategic benchmark, indirect comment on the strategic benchmark. This is largely because of the nature of decision. It represents a trade-off between long-term risk and return considerations. Relatively easy to look back over any period and assess how one policy decision would have compared to another. Lekin, it is difficult to look back and compare risk, which is a retrospective assessment of risk, which means आप अगर आज खड़े हो तो आप last period पे बोल सकते हो कौन सा better perform करता. But even after that, it will be tough for you to assess कि coming period में which one is going to perform better. Likewise, risk tolerance is difficult to assess even with hindsight. Indeed, while hindsight could be said to be somewhat useful in comparing the risk of two strategies, it potentially distorts an assessment of risk tolerance due to the behavioral characteristic known as hindsight bias, where whatever has happened with us in the past, we are going to be biased towards it. It refers to the tendency for the human recollection of events to be colored by subsequent events. In other words, if we fear something bad will happen, but it does not, we tend to forget the fear that we experienced earlier, even if the risk of that event happening was significant when measured objectively. नाउ टू कंफ्लिक्टिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हमेशा क्या होते हैं, एक होता है कि रिटर्न्स को मैक्सिमाइज करना है और दूसरा सॉल्वेंसी एंड स्टेबिलिटी को इंश्योर करना है ऑलवेज, एंड दोनों कंफ्लिक्टिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं. Again, a question which I remember seeing multiple times. The investment policy needs to reflect the extent to which the risks of lower stability and security are to be taken in order to aim for higher returns. This will typically involve a two-stage process. First stage is an appropriate asset mix for the fund, which is the strategic benchmark. The strategic risk of the fund is the risk of poor performance of the benchmark relative to the value of liabilities. And second one is the active risk, which is basically tactical implementation of the strategy by selecting managers and a decision on the appropriate level of risk that these managers should take relative to the strategic benchmark. We had done two things. एक था load ratio and एक था load difference, जिससे हम लोग दिखा रहे थे how the managers, the fund managers can be allocated risk, कि this is how much you can deviate from the benchmark. There may also be some structural risk associated with any mismatch between the aggregate of portfolio benchmarks and the total fund benchmark. वो क्या होता है इन दोनों के बीच का, कि जब आपका ये strategic risk है, इसको जब आप divide कर रहे हो, then हो सकता है the sum totals might not be equal to the strategic risk. And ये जो होता है, that is called structural risk. This mismatch is the structural risk. Then we have a few measures of risk. We have value at risk, tracking error, stress testing, and sustainability risk. सबसे पहले value at risk. What is value at risk?
The likelihood, exactly what it is written, the likelihood of underperforming by providing a statistical distribution of downside risks.
ठीक है, ये तो technical definition हो गया. Logically,
that what is the probability that a risk will happen. So if we have, let's suppose it is 95%, so we are confident that the risk won't happen. 5% is the tail risk that the risk can happen.
okay. And answer किस में आते हैं, या value at risk quote किस unit में होता है?
Percentage, like 5% confidence interval, 95% confidence interval.
Okay, confidence interval and as well as an amount. ठीक है, कि कितना का loss,
magnitude.
हाँ. तो it assesses the potential losses on a portfolio over a given future time with a given degree of confidence. It can be measured either in absolute terms or relative to benchmarks. क्या होता है value at risk, कैसे calculate होता है, example के through देखते हैं. And also VR always assumes normal distribution, which is a very big drawback of value at risk, क्योंकि we have discussed normal distribution के tails बहुत thin होते हैं, but actual risk events में the tails tend to be fatter. An equity manager has a portfolio of 100 million pound equities with a beta of 0.9. Risk-free asset return is expected 1%, and excess stock market return above risk-free is expected to be 7%, which means total return of 8%. Suppose that long-term stock market volatility is around 17%, which means standard deviation of the market. Calculate the monthly VAR for the portfolio using a 98% confidence interval. Very, very important कि हम लोग को VAR में हमेशा time period quote करना होता है, because we are seeing over what time period is that risk present. तो सबसे पहले we know normal distribution है, तो we have to define the normal distribution. Normal distribution का standard deviation हम लोग को पता है is 17%, right?
Right.
नाउ स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन 17% है पूरा स्टॉक मार्केट का. इस पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक का स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन क्या है? इट वुड बी 90% of it because beta is 0.9 we just discussed.
ठीक है.
And ये क्या है? This is 17% per annum. We are doing monthly calculation.
So we
So
divide by
monthly standard deviation is 1 by root 12.
Hmm.
So that gives us 4.417%. And mean return कैसे निकालेंगे? Mean return निकालेंगे using CAPM. Risk free rate plus beta into market risk premium. Market risk premium बोला है 7% है.
7%.
Risk free rate 1%. Beta 90%. And that is the per annum rate. So monthly rate will be divided by 12, which is 0.6083%. Now, how do we calculate value at risk? We calculate value at risk. यहाँ पे बोला है 98% confidence interval, which means probability of loss should be 2%. Yeah, probability of the value at risk should be 2%. Correct? So can we say probability of whatever the asset value is, उसको value at risk के नीचे गिरने का probability is 0.02.
From where are we getting this 0.02?
98% confidence interval है ना, तो 2% चांस ही हो सकता है गिरने का.
ठीक है.
Z value क्या है for 98%? It's 2.054. It is 2.054.
ठीक है.
तो क्या बोल रहे हैं? Average return is 0.6083%. That's average return. Standard deviation is 4.417%. How do we solve for normal distributions? How do we solve normal distributions?
अपने वही tables.
Tables तो यूज करते हैं. जो भी normal distribution variable है, we convert it into Z. How do we convert it? Minus mu by sigma. The probability of Z being less than this is equal to or greater समझ लो is equal to 2.054. Correct? तो उसी को rearrange करके we arrive at this and we get minus 8.5%. We get the value of X और we get the chances कि return कितना से कम हो सकते हैं. जो भी रिटर्न है वो कितना से कम हो सकता है? वो minus 8.5% तक गिर सकता है या 8.5% तक का लॉस हो सकता है in 1 month. वैल्यू एट रिस्क का एक थोड़ा सिंप्लीफाइड फॉर्मूला I'll tell you. It was second Spencer. Value at risk is equal to mu minus जो भी हम लोग का स्टैंडर्ड नॉर्मल वेरिएबल का वैल्यू है into sigma. That is value at risk. You can directly apply this formula also.
And which is where are we using the other one which we have written on left?
ये वाला ये इसी का डेरिवेशन है. इसी का डेरिवेशन है कि जब हम लोग यहाँ से स्टार्ट करते हैं वैल्यू एट रिस्क यही तो बोलता है ना कि क्या चांसेस है लॉस होने का. इट शुड बी 0.02%.
But Vandita, do you have this derivation? I remember we did this in earlier exams, but do you have this derivation somewhere?
I'll send it to you.
You have ना. मतलब थोड़ा सा I think I forgot. एक बार रिवाइज हो जाएगा तो थोड़ा इजी हो जाएगा.
I'll send you the derivation, but for now you can always use this formula.
ठीक है.
Okay. Disadvantages क्या है वैल्यू एट रिस्क का? सबसे बड़ा we already discussed normal distribution assume करता है, which means कि thin tails है but fat tails होते हैं.
That it will show you thin tail, but in reality it is a fat tail.
Fat tail और skewed भी हो सकते हैं.
ठीक है.
The next measure we have is tracking error. Tracking error क्या है? Tracking error is the annualized standard deviation of the difference between the returns on the actual portfolio and the benchmark portfolio. तो क्या है? How do we calculate tracking error? You have the benchmark portfolio returns, you have the actual portfolio return. You calculate the difference. Difference आता है, वो difference का आपको standard deviation निकालना है, but annualized. Which means, for example, if you have this data quarterly, तो आपको into 4 करना होगा for annualizing it.
Correct.
Monthly है तो into 12, so on. But tracking error is always annualized. Remember that. And what is the purpose of it? Basically क्या हो रहा है? Tracking error is seeing कि कितना deviation है in the difference between your actual and benchmark. Actual and benchmark में deviation है, agreed. But वो deviation में कितना deviation है? Understood? How much is that deviation also deviating, or how volatile is that deviation? And to what extent can it go? And what is information ratio? जैसे हम लोग coefficient of variation use करते हैं, right? Coefficient of variation क्या है? What is coefficient of variation? If you remember.
Don't remember.
एकदम भी याद नहीं है कि what is the point of coefficient of variation?
नहीं.
Okay. Coefficient of variation basically देखता है standard deviation for every unit. It is basically standard deviation by mean into 100%. That is coefficient of variation कि इतना percent से vary करता है. Information ratio is a similar statistic in case of active passive management. It is also return per risk, but उसका उल्टा होता है. It is per unit of return जो मिला है, which is the relative return for per unit of risk into 100%. तो बेसिकली क्या बोल रहे हैं कि जो भी ये डिफरेंस का कॉलम बना था ऊपर, इस डिफरेंस के कॉलम का मीन निकालेंगे तो रिलेटिव रिटर्न आएगा कि हाउ मच रिटर्न हैव वी अर्न्ड रिलेटिव टू द बेंचमार्क, एंड स्टैंडर्ड डिविएशन से उस रिटर्न का वोलेटिलिटी आएगा या उस डिफरेंस इन रिटर्न का वोलेटिलिटी आएगा, which is basically showing the risk. The return per unit of risk is what the information ratio shows us. ठीक है?
ठीक है.
Downside risk तो normal है. Identifying the worst period underperformances, and strategic risk measurement is basically just complicated approaches. Measurement of strategic risk has been complicated by the fact that the value of liabilities may not be well defined or objectively determined. However, recent trends toward the adoption of more market-related approaches to valuing liabilities has meant that the liability values have become more identifiable. With this has come the realization that funds were taking much greater strategic risks. This simply reflects the fact that the variation in performance between assets such as equities, properties, or overseas, and bond-based assets that reflect behavior of liabilities is generally very high. Then we have stress testing. Stress testing में क्या होता है? एक होता है sensitivity testing and एक होता है stress testing. Sensitivity testing देखता है the sensitivity of the portfolio's value to very small changes in the underlying assumptions. Stress testing, on the other hand, focuses on more extreme scenarios. And this stress testing is conducted only on the weak areas, not the overall portfolio. तो दो टाइप का स्ट्रेस टेस्ट होते हैं. एक होता है कि वीक एरियाज उठाओ एंड इन्वेस्टिगेट द इफेक्ट्स ऑफ लोकलाइज्ड स्ट्रेस सिचुएशंस. लोकलाइज्ड स्ट्रेस सिचुएशंस मतलब क्या? खाली वीक एरियाज जो चीज से इंपैक्ट होते हैं, सिर्फ उन assumptions पे हम लोग स्ट्रेस टेस्ट करेंगे by looking at the effect of different combination of correlations and volatilities. दूसरा टाइप का स्ट्रेस टेस्टिंग होता है जब हम लोग पूरे उस पे करते हैं for a major market turmoil. To gauge the impact of major market turmoil which affects all the model parameters while ensuring consistency between correlations while they are stressed. For example, to stress the correlations that are used in risk budgeting model, revising them all up by 20%. Sensitivity testing में small changes होते हैं, 1%, 2%, so on. Resulting increase might push the fund well above its risk budget, and the impact of stressing certain correlations will make interesting analysis. क्योंकि हम लोग क्या किए थे? We had seen कि usually in times of extreme stress, all correlations fail and most correlations tend to 1. क्योंकि कोई भी शेयर फिर बचता नहीं है. All shares start behaving in a similar manner once extreme stress situations come in. These scenarios should be tailored to reveal weaknesses in the portfolio structure in terms of risk exposure and sensitivity, and should thus focus on the risk factors that the portfolio is most exposed to. Lastly, we have sustainability risk. उसमें क्या क्या आते हैं? Climate risk है, transition risk है, transition of what? From high carbon to low carbon, social risk है, and governance risk है. ये दोनों environmental है, and then we have social and governance risk. इन सबको measure करने के लिए usually अभी तक not very objective measures have been developed. Most of it is done by extensive subjective methodologies and deep studies. इसके बाद वाला जो पार्ट है, it is not very important. If you want, you can give a read through it. Just this section 13 जो है, further section 13 and section 12. Practical examples and other considerations. ये दोनों बहुत important नहीं है, but just for examples, just for knowledge purpose, you can go through it once. And कोई भी doubt हो तो you can ask me.
ठीक है. So chapter 11 is over then.
Yes, chapter 11 is over. Go through the summary properly and see if there is any topic which you feel कि you want to redo or you want to discuss in more detail, then we can go through that.
ठीक है.
Okay, next class में we will go on with chapter 12.
ठीक है. कल भी 9 o'clock works?
हाँ, it should.
It should ना? ठीक है.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.